Welcome to the WOY channel. I am one half of your team, Shaq.
I'm your brother, Jay Shum.
And we are WOY channel. So, how are you, brother? How you are mentally, physically? Where you at, my brother?
Man, so physically, man, I'm not where I want to be. You know, I'm wrapping it up in the gym, but I don't have no pain in my body. So we always got to look at it from a different perspective. Mentally, upward and downward flows, but nevertheless, man, I'm here. So we always got to take it with a grain of salt and move forward. And I'm thankful to be here, man. How about you? How you feeling physically and mentally?
Oh man, thanks for asking. I'm actually good. I got breath in my body, got clothes on my back, I got a roof over my head. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I have nothing to complain about, man. I am blessed.
You're alive. That's all that matters.
Yes, yeah. So I wanted to touch things a little different today on this episode because when we first started Wheel Why, a lot of people don't know this. We always say this. You have heard us say this on previous episodes that we are for the people. And so this episode, we cover a lot of topics, a lot of good topics that's relatable to the audience, something that they can feed on, something that they are educated from, and they can find beneficial and how to apply it to their lives. But there was a topic that one of our viewers, we was talking about it before we started filming and recording and stuff like that. But one of our supporters, our biggest viewers, wanted us to discuss and answer right here on Wheel Why. And that's why this show is so important, because we allow our audience to come on the show, or they don't feel comfortable with coming on the show to have a topic to talk about. And a lot of times we hear the word greed. We hear the word more and more. We hear wants. We hear, I just got to have it. And just having the mindset and the power of keeping up with the Joneses mindset. But what I would encourage that viewer that wanted us to talk about this, along with the other people that's dealing with this, because there's a lot of people that dealing with this, is materialistic bad for one's future? Right? Is materialistic bad for one's future? And I would encourage the people that have that type of mindset to stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. We know that it's evident. We have seen a history of it. It's a timeline right there off the internet that being materialistic can make someone's lives less enjoyable, miserable, and it damaged the mindset. So I wanted to ask you, what's your take on materialistic? And let's help this viewer and this supporter answer this question. So, is materialistic bad for one's future? And what's your take on materialistic, on materialistic itself?
Oh, man, so great question. We appreciate the viewer for this wonderful question. So materialistic, it is bad for one future, but we all have been down that road as well. Personally, just me speaking, just in high school, I know that's when it actually hit me for materialistic. Because you see certain friends, certain peers, they might have Jordans on. And when I was in school, it was the cool grades. And my mom wasn't able to afford to get the cool grades. So I always was wanting to keep up with the Joneses. But what we have to understand sometimes as well is we don't know what our counterpart or our friends had to go through to get that. You know, you got to be enlightened. You don't know what their mother had to go through. You don't know what they had to personally do to go through to get and attain what they have. So you have to just be grateful for what you do have. You know, if you continue just to move forward and I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that, you never just satisfy for what you do have. You know, materialistics and how. What was the question you said? The
Is
second question?
materialistic bad for one's future?
Yeah, it's bad for one future, man. It's bad for one future. But how do we overcome that? I think how you said one time before, I think it was episode 4, you said about a self-help check. You have to just take self-inventory. Take self-inventory. Sometimes people say solitude is the best thing. And just having a questionnaire of, okay, what can I do to be happy with myself, even though I don't have the latest car, the latest jewelry, the latest shoes, the latest apparel. What do I have to be grateful for? And I feel like if you start with that first and open up your mind and just be not content, because I don't like that word content, but just be appreciative of what you have, man, that's where you can start at. So I believe materialistic is bad for one future, but however, we all got to go through our phase and our phase of just being grateful. Just being grateful, dog. So, yeah.
Well, I appreciate you answering that question, helping that viewer to see, and that's biggest supporter to see the your overall take on is materialistic, and answering that question on is materialistic bad for one's future. And I like how you brought out uh, uh, the fact that I said on episode 4 about the self health evaluation check. I appreciate that. That lets me know that you're paying attention to what I be saying, even though sometimes we agree to disagree. I appreciate that, bro. But you mentioned, and I actually agree with you. You mentioned wants, and you talked about things. So can I get a little dirty real quick? I mean, I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. I mean, can I get a little dirty real quick when we talk about, because you know how I feel about people that's materialistic, and you know how I'm finna get down. So I just want to ask, is you okay with me going in?
Please do. Please
Okay,
do.
okay. So we always hear words like, for first of all, my view is that I think that it definitely is the number one problem issue. I think it is, what I see is the power of not having enough. I think that has been an issue. Um, you hear words like, "Oh, I got the new iPhone, got a rollie on my wrist, right? Got a rollie on my wrist. I got a chain on my neck, right? I'm driving a new Bugatti, right? My Mercedes costs more than how you living. Oh, I just bought the latest Xbox, the latest PlayStation 4, the latest PlayStation 5. What you have that make you better than me, right? My flat screen TV, my flat screen TV is bigger than yours, and I'm about to go out and buy another one and stun on you. Now
Mhm.
we hear words like that, right?
Yeah, we do. We do.
We do, and people kill themselves. People kill themselves trying to do everything they can, everything in their power to have the latest, to have the newest, right? To make themselves better than the next person, when really the next person really looking at them and the things that they have over time as old and depreciated. Like some of the stuff that they have is not even valuable to them. We see that this world is changing, right? It's evolving and things are coming out, right? And it evolved over time. You think about the iPhone 10, it came out 2.5 years ago. Now we in the iPhone 13, and people run busting their butt trying to go get, oh, I gotta have the iPhone 13. It's a new it's a new feature. The picture is good. It still work the same, right?
Mhm.
My flat screen is bigger than your flat screen, but it still worked the same, right? So what's the difference between a Mercedes versus the Toyota Camry? Oh, I gotta have a Mercedes because you only got the Mercedes because you feel like you're living and you're better than the next person, when the next person really don't care. Nobody cares what you have.
Mhm.
And my argument is but I'm gonna say this though. It's nothing wrong with having things. Let me just make that clear. It's nothing wrong with having things, because you do have a lot of people out there who work hard for what they do. People deserve to live comfortable.
Mhm.
But I will argue and say it's nothing wrong with having things. I just feel like people need to stop living for things and just settling for things, because living for things, how can you grow if you just materialistic? Right.
You're
And I
right.
think that's where me and you agree at. And this is actually the first time that me and you actually agreed on the topic. You didn't notice that, did you?
Nah, nah. I have. I have. I have.
Yeah. So I just feel like money and fame is never the answer. You look at social media. I think social media has a lot to play with it. You look at the role models, the rappers, the entertainers, right? As you mentioned, yeah, it is true. It is about the cars, the jewelry, the furniture, and all these things. But being materialistic, and I will argue this, being materialistic is definitely not a life that's worth living. We have seen it. Um, and I also think the issue of, it's a lack of self identity, right? I think people, I will argue and say that people really don't know who they are. That's why they buy the things that they have, because they don't define who they are. The first time that they buy a house or a car or a new home, or they purchase anything, first thing they do, they go and put it on Facebook, right? I know you done saw it, right? They go and put it on Facebook, but why are y'all putting it on Facebook, right? Whatever you do, I'm like this. Whatever I do secretly, right, don't need to be disclosed publicly, right? My business is not your business. My business is my business, and I'm gonna live my business because I work hard for my business so I can live comfortably off of my business. And that's the problem that I'm having. People buy material possessions and material gains, right, to define who their character and their behavior are. But I will argue and say that you don't need expensive things to find happiness. You don't need things to define who you really truly are, right? There's something from what I believe in. Now, I know you said it, and I used to feel that way, but now I got in my life where I feel this way. It's all about contentment. It's all about true contentment. You got to have contentment nowadays. So do you agree to what I'm saying, or do you disagree, or what's your take on? Do you think it's a lack of self identity, and it's the power of people not having enough? Because that's all I see when I look on Facebook, when I look on social media, when I look at the entertainers, the people that we're supposed to quote unquote look up to, right? That's why I feel like it's bad, and I agree with you, my brother. So what's your take on it?
Honestly, I feel like, where does it start from? That's the first question. Where does it start from? I don't like to use the word contentment. You don't ever want to be content in life. You can be grateful, you can be appreciative, those things, but being content, I just can't agree with that. But I want to just kind of goes to, where does it come from? And we all have to develop. We all have to grow into becoming, as you were just saying. I don't value myself over the cars or having a Mercedes or having the latest apparel. None of those things are the flat screens. You don't base yourself off of that, but you had to grow into it. So what I want us to break down a little bit is the wants and the needs, because that's the foundation. I believe just starting off with the wants and the needs. We could just start off as just shoes. If I have $100 in my account and some shoes, some Nikes might be $90, why would I sacrifice my $100? I'm down to my last $100 just because I might see my peer or my homie with some new Nikes on. Why would I sacrifice my $100 just to be able to be? Oh yeah, I got the latest shoes.
Well, I think that people have to realize the fundamentals, the time that we live in, with wants and needs. I think wants only comes. This is how I live my life, right? And I want to go back to what you said, because you said about you just can't really, really stand on contentment. But before I get on the wants and the needs, so you don't feel like we need to be content with the things that we have now, because uh, you know, being content with the things you want now, with the things that you need,
Mm-hmm.
is going to get you the things that you want, because you humbly keeping your integrity and living for a purpose of being contentment. Because I feel like long as you are content, right, with the small things, if you content with the small things, let's say I got a smaller car, right? I'm a smaller car. I'm appreciative. I take care of that car. I drive that car, get me back and forth to A and B, and then I know I need a new car. Well, down the line, right, God might bless me with a bigger car and a more newer car, because I was content with and humble with the small car. So you don't believe that, being content with the things that you need, we need to be content with the things that we need instead of the things that we want.
No, 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 no. I disagree, because it's a difference from being humble and having humility and being content. I could be humble and appreciative and grateful for having a Toyota Corolla that might have 100,000 miles on it. But at the same time, I always want to strive for better, but I'm striving for better on my timeline and when it's available and when this makes sense for me.
Okay.
That's when it makes sense for me. So you're not keeping up with the Joneses. You're on your schedule. I have a car, quote unquote, might be paid off. Yes, old. Might be a 2007, high mileage, but it's getting me from point A to point B. However, I'm not keeping up with the Joneses. I'm just following my path. And I feel that that's what we all should have been. We all should be doing, following our path. Because we all have different paths and we all are made uniquely different. That's what makes us unique. That's what makes us special.
Okay.
So just keeping up with the Joneses, we agree with that. It's just more of the content. I just don't believe in being content. I don't believe in being content because
that's your life, and that's a personal decision and a personal choice that you choose to live. I'm just basically saying on how I feel about contentment and where my life. Matter of fact, it's funny that you bring it up because I'm just having this conversation last week about somebody. They was like, "Well, Shaq, you're doing good, man. I mean, I just got to give my hat out to you, man. You got your own place, you got your own car, you work, you're just doing everything that a young man's supposed to do. How do you live the life you have, and how are you able to take care of some of the expenses that you have and able to maintain without asking nobody for nothing?" And I basically, my response was, because I live my life simple, right? We have to understand that a want is only going to come 3 times of the year. And the things that we want, we're going to think about it all year long. We could think about 100 things that we want a year, right? But it may not come to our presence or in the presence of until 3 times a year. We may want a new car. We may want this. We may want that. But it only going to come 3 times out of the year. Everything else, you need to focus on what you need, right? You need this. You need the necessities is important, right? A wants is just desires, right? That's all it is. It's just desires. And so I feel like contentment will help you get to that. If you long as you understand the truth, like I said, there's a such thing as contentment. There also is a such thing as true contentment. Because true contentment knows its own value. And you're going to be true to that contentment because you are content with the things that you need instead of the things that you want. Because if you're focused on the things that you need and you humbly submit yourself, God will provide you with the things that you want. I'm just real big on it. That's just me. So when you talk about a want and a need, I just feel like they're both different. But I think people, now that we're living in 2022, people need to focus on what they need instead of what they want.
oh, yes,
Because
most
we don't know
definitely.
where this world is going. As I mentioned earlier, the world is evolving. So that's kind of how I feel about when you ask me about a want and a need.
Okay. I appreciate your feedback as well. Before we wrap it up, I want to make sure we kind of go back down to the foundation, the root of what the viewer asked. And they said, kind of help them with materialistic is bad for one future. I want you to give 2 perspectives, 2 point of views of what you believe what a need is. And I give 2 of mine. I believe, as you said, inflation is crazy. Gas prices now at $4.20, $4.30. So those are needs. You need groceries. Even if you only have $150 in your pocket that's left to your name, those are needs. You need groceries. You need necessities as far as paper towels, toilet tissue, those needs. Gas, need to get me to point A to point B to get back to my job and whatever else we have in the course of a day. Those are needs. Sometimes we're sacrificed, and we being transparent on here. Sometimes as your mother, when Christmas times come or your birthday might come, they might sacrifice the light bill just to get you a pair of shoes. Just get you a pair of shoes or to get you a present, whatever the case is. So I want to make sure we kind of break down and illustrate and bring to the audience the focus on your needs and explain what the needs are to eliminate the wants.
But let me
Because the
just,
wants go get you in trouble. The wants go get your lights cut off, your gas off, your water off.
and you just basically answered your own question. I think when you talked about how when we was growing up, the mother that would buy the kids, sacrificing by them like some sneakers over paying the light bill, technically she hurting the child and she hurting herself and she hurting the household because ultimately lights is a necessity. So that's something that you need in order to make a sustainable living. So, I mean, we can go on and on. I think the viewers, I think they know what a need are. They know what a want. They just choose to focus. Like, think about it. right? If I know that I got to pay my mortgage or my rent, right? But I know that there's a celebrity coming downtown. All of my friends are going and I just got to go to the club. But I'm just going to only pay certain amount toward my mortgage and stuff like that. You're hurting yourself versus helping yourself because you're going to take your butt down there to a group of people that don't care nothing about you, that all y'all going to do is post something on Facebook, a like, a picture, something for people to view, and then next thing you know, you're gonna be crying to your parents if your parents still living, or your uncle, your sister, your brother, your cousin trying to rob Peter to pay Paul, and really you hurting yourself overall, and then nobody wants to hear your story. So then you're back at square A. So that's why I say they know what a need and a want. They grown people, right? We're not finna be babysitting and telling them what that. I just think that it's a challenge for some people to work on it. I think it's a challenge. I think it's a struggle for people to work on it. It really is. I mean, it's a structural. It's not structural. Nobody is giving them. I think they know it, but they want to learn how to apply it. How can they imitate it? How can it help them make the necessary adjustments? So it's funny that you say that because I got an acronym, and I should have brought it out at the beginning of the show, but I forgot because me and you we was talking about the whole where you at mentally and where I'm at physically. But since it's a challenge for some, and since it's a challenge for all, I even had to work on that. I ain't gonna lie, I even had to work on that. But I live my life simple, right? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't watch TV. Everything I need, right, is in my phone or in my tablet. I don't need TV because TV is a distraction.
See, that's a want. That's a want. Got to
Right.
educate.
That's a personal choice and that's a preference that I choose to live. Right. Now a lot of people may disagree. Like, how can he not watch TV? It's a distraction. How can I grow and become better if I'm allowing my time to be entertained by something, people on TV that I never will get a chance to meet? So I don't watch TV, right? Because most of the stuff you'll hear from your friends, you'll hear about it later in the like the Super Bowl. I didn't watch the Super Bowl this year. Well, before you know it, I woke up. Who won? Oh, the LA Rams won. Okay, boom. Because people talking about it. But why would I sacrifice and watch something when I know it ain't gonna do nothing but hurt me? So it was a challenge. So the word defeat as an acronym, I think we should break that down. So I think the D, since we talked about the self identity, the D stands for develop your identity, right? The E stands for enjoy your happiness. They need to know that they can live with a less lifestyle and still be happy, right? F, fight your fight. It's a struggle. It's a challenge, but continue to fight. Continue to fight. You will one day have it. E, everybody always used to give to them, right? We talked about the word greed, but they need to earn their excellence. A, accomplish betterment, become better each and every day. And that T, which is the most powerful one, which you and I did, and we had to do, and we had to learn this, trust the process. Because if you trust the process, you won't have to rush the process. And if you rush the process, how can you trust the process? I think this is a tool and this is a key step that as a start that someone can use to make the necessary adjustment if they're struggling with trying to overcome being materialistic. Anything you want to add, my brother?
Hey, my brother, you just wrapped it up. Just a couple of comments. As you say, fight your fight. It's a struggle. It's a battle. When you're trying to learn yourself and evaporate and separate yourself from materialistic, but it's a fight. But trust the process through that fight. And my brother just illustrated as he just spoke. So that's all I have, my brother, man. Go ahead and close us out.
All right. Well, we hope that answered your question. Our biggest support, our bigger viewers. Continue to support us. And if you have anything that you want to talk about, reach out to us. We don't mind bringing your topics on the show, even if you're embarrassed on coming on the show and being in front of cameras. We will talk about it here. We will address these concerns. We will address these matters. Why? Because we are for you. We care about you. Continue to support us as we continue to support you. We love you. And we just want to leave and let you know to defeat anything that comes. It don't even have to be materialistic, right? It can be a challenge that you just can't overcome, right? Just try to use the feet, break down that acronym, and I go over it again if you want me to. The D stands for develop your identity. The E stands for enjoy your happiness. The F stands for fight your fight. The E stands for earn your excellence. The A stands for accomplish betterment. And the T, trust the process. I am Shaq. I'm one half of the team. I am Shaq.
I'm your brother, Jay Sherman. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share with a family and friend. We are why family. We love you. We out.
We are why because we are why not. We out.